All right, it's been a while since we've done one of these, and I only promised to do this review, I think, like 6 years ago on my channel. But this is Lagavulin 8 Scotch whiskey, of course, from the fine folks at Lagavulin. 48% alcohol by volume, aged 8 years. And this was first released in 2016. And it was to basically celebrate the 200th anniversary of Lagavulin as a distillery. And they have a little thing here, a little bit of history or whatever, you know, the typical PR bullshit stuff. We journeyed through the village of Lagavulin, the mill in the valley, and no prettier or no more romantic spot could have been chosen for a distillery. We tasted some 8-year-old before starting, which was exceptionally fine, and this was apparently written by Alfred Barnard. I don't know who that is. Some sort of bigwig. I think they have it on the website or whatever, probably telling you more. And of course, you can always just Google that and look it up. I'm not going to do all your work for you. But yeah, this is kind of, indicative of pretty much every distillery these days that's worth a crap. They're releasing younger and younger scotches to meet the demand of sales. They don't want to sit on things anymore for like 12 years or plus. They want to bring in a bunch of stuff real quick and get it to the market. Can't remember. I believe there's sherry casks involved in this. I should have wrote all this down. I'm surprised they don't actually say on the actual bottle here. Lagavulin Distillery, Port Ellen, Isle of Islay, of course. So we're expecting something peaty here. And of course, you can probably tell by looking at it, I've had a bit of this. I believe it's bourbon and sherry casks, like finished on sherry casks to some extent. If I'm incorrect, then I'm lying to you. And you should always take a amateur reviewer like myself with a grain of salt. It's such a nice day today. I just felt like finally getting around to doing this review and taking the bottle out to the yard, and here we are doing it. So anyway, I read somewhere that this is actually caramel colored, which is surprising, but because it looks pretty light. But if it's an 8-year-old, you weren't going to be expecting much color to begin with, right? So very, very well could have, if there's a veracity to that what I read. Yeah, they just did it just enough to make it look like, like a Lefroy 10, or a quarter cask, I should say, or something along those lines, which I don't believe is colored. So let's go right to the aroma. See the warm weather starting to peek out. The flies are starting to get born, wake up. So it's kind of what you come to expect from one of these things. There's definitely a sweetness there. There's kind of like a honeyed sweetness there. There's a bit of a spicy component to it. Something like there's kind of like a sugar and spice sort of component in the background of this, like a barley sugar or something along those lines. And then like the spice, like cumin, almost. Some sort of baking spice, like just But I mean, the dominant note, and it shouldn't be a big surprise. Well, the dominant 2 notes, I should say. You got this nice peaty tar character, and just kind of a seashore maritime quality to it. You know it if you know it. Just the kind of bonfire wood, salt in the air. It smells pretty good. It's not as intense as like a Lefroy quarter cask. It's definitely not quite as well put together as like your regular Lagavulin, but it is pretty intense. I mean, it is an 8-year-old, so it is pretty young. It smells good, and it's easy. It's an easy one to smell if you're a big fan of peat stuff. Like it you might find it a little on the light side, but it's very easy breezy. You know, this smells really good. It's got complexity, but it's not super complex at the same time. There's that brash, youthful part of it, considering its age. So there's some punchy notes. Again, not as punchy as something like quarter cask. But this is a little bit, this has a little bit older whiskey in it than, say, quarter cask, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is what, 6 years? Generally, 6 years is what's in those. So yeah, cheers. We're going to go right to the taste, see what we think. Perfect for a day like this. It's like 7 degrees out. There's wind, so it's brought the temperature down with wind chill to about 4 degrees or so. And that's Celsius, of course. So this is a perfect kind of weather for a whiskey like this. A lot more of that barley sugar sweetness is coming out in the actual taste. There is quite a bit of sweetness in it, actually. Your peat is right up front, just smoky tar. A lot of wood character coming out. The finish kind of hits wood, kind of hits, again, that spicy component I was getting from the nose, that sort of like baking spice, like cumin or something along those lines, kind of popping out. Just going to drink on this a little bit more. That smokiness is really coming out now. Kind of lingers on the back of the palate. This is pretty good. It's actually, like, at 8 years, it kind of jumps away from the kind of youthful harshness of quarter cask. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more of the spirit actually like coming together as an actual like fully like constructed expression, like something that's been set on enough to like gain it a more well-rounded character. I find like the different notes are a little bit more balanced than, again, like I'd say a quarter cask, which is kind of my judgment standard for all these sort of peaty whiskeys, especially the young ones. And of course, quarter cask is still my favorite Scotch, my favorite go-to Scotch. Just because I love how like punchy and brash it is, and just how in your face it is. It's getting somewhere close to that, but it's definitely a lot more refined. It's definitely a lot more dialed in, dialed back, however you want to say that. compared to something that's so youthful that it's just like it doesn't care that the note that like the peat's overpowering, or that you get like this medicinal iodine character that's just like smashing you in the face. This one here's like I said, it's a little bit more smoothed out. And that's kind of where it sits. Like if you're thinking about, hey, is this going to be as, harsh as quarter cask? No, it's not. It's definitely sitting at a different spot than quarter cask. It's kind of like the refined older brother of quarter cask, maybe. Maybe that's the way to put it. And again, I shouldn't use sibling terms considering it's a different distillery, right? But I think you get what I'm saying. At least I hope you do. Yeah, this is really good. I probably won't get it again necessarily. I think I'd just rather get quarter cask. I can't remember the price on this, but it seemed to me it was significantly cheaper than like your quarter cask and some of the other stuff that's sort of floating around of a similar sort. But yeah, I think I'd still just go for quarter cask. Honestly, that's just kind of my go-to. But this is really good, and especially if you don't like the harsher young Islay Scotches. If you want something a little bit more that's sort of walking that tightrope, a little bit harsh, but still there's refined character there. There's a lot of notes going on, complexity, something you can sit back on and contemplate. This is really good for that. So, yeah, I'm going to sit this at like, that's hard. It's hard to think where I want to put this. Because I really like it. I really do like it. It's just kind of like, what do I want from this whiskey is kind of where I'm thinking about this. Do I want that harsher thing? If that's the case, then maybe the score goes down a little bit more. Or do I want that refinement? Like, do I judge this on the merits of how well seasoned it is for an 8-year-old? Just to be safe, I'm going to try to split the difference here of where I'm kind of thinking of this. I'm going to put it at a A-. I think that's where I'll sit at it. A-. So there you go.